I didn't get so personally hurt or just felt disrespected then because I understood it better. Mm-hmm. And so if any of you moms or parents are listening out there and your child isn't calling you back and you think, don't they know how much I love them? Don't they know how I lay awake worrying for them at night? Well, the answer is, I think they do, and that's what bothers them and why they're not calling you is because they can't face hurting you as much as they feel like they're hurting you more than they're hurting themselves bothers them more to know they hurt their loved ones than their own self. Am I kind of right on that?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
And so
I think what you're trying to say is that it's because talking to them or trying to get a hold of them when you know they're not in a spot where they want to talk to you. At least this is how I got it. They're not in a spot where that you know from experience that they don't want to talk to you. Mm-hmm. That's going to be painful for you to be shut out like that, and that you know you kind of have to be like, when it's time, you know, they'll come to me. And that's one thing I want to say is that God bless his heart for handing us these microphones tonight, you know, and this is not supposed to be any sort of like, you know, Corey bashing, you know,
because he warned us. He warned us that if we Corey bashed, he would never borrow money.
He can edit this
from
thing anyway,
any of us ever again.
Right, mm-hmm. I know.
He's never borrow money if we bash him.
But no, I mean, in reality is that that's what, you know what, a lot of time, I mean, recovery in general, you get to be where you're at, wherever there is for you, for people in recovery, is that there chances are that you have stories. Chances are that you have hurt people. Chances are that people have hurt you. And, you know, the point of this is that you can celebrate who he is today and how far he's come, and that, you know, we don't know all the reasons why he's still around today. I know I should have been dead many times, honestly. I don't know why I'm still here. God, you know,
wasn't finished
support from my family. I know that, you know, treatment centers, counseling, listening, praying.
God inserted your family in there,
yeah,
to guard over you and help you. And he was kind of even when you, well, like the footprints in the sand, when you think God wasn't there, he was actually carrying you. And so he put places and angels and like your mom and stuff in place. Because if you were just let go to your own and we're just content with, oh, they're fine. Well, Jerry, I don't talk to him as much, but he messages me almost every day. We talk back and forth, mostly over political stuff or the weather or what for dinner, but we've talked just about every day. But I don't, excuse me, worry as much about him. Was I supposed to turn
about
this
Corey?
down if I got a call?
No, you're fine.
Jerry, it's not like, oh, I haven't heard from Jerry in a week. But it got with Corey since I knew what he was going through. But you think, okay, they're out there, they're living their life. You know, I don't need to talk to them every day like when they were little kids. Hold on, I gotta.
Oh, I used to get so angry when I was doing good or when I was doing bad. I'm like, you don't need to call me like every 3 days, you know. My parents, and then they'd be like, at least just call me and tell me you're okay. You know, I'm like, I don't need to do that. Like, I'm a middle-aged, you know, grown woman, but I'm also, you know, a middle-aged grown woman who was struggling, and any day of the week, they didn't know how well I was doing. I mean, and I put that, I personally, I created that space, just like I'm sure a lot of people in recovery or in active addiction do. They create that distance because, you know, they don't have to explain themselves. There's, you know, they don't have to answer to you, and they don't want particularly to hear what you have to say. Because, you know, they don't like themselves. And I say that from experience. You know, when you don't, I used to say this all the time. I want to wait to call my parents when I have something good to say.
Yeah.
You know, and then the time wasn't coming. And so weeks would go by, and I'm like, I'll call him when I have something good to say, when I have a job, when I have, I'm in a solid, spot in my life, when I'm back, in going to meetings or whatever, because I would try to, detox myself, and that didn't work.
It's very dangerous.
Yeah, very dangerous. I would tell you right now, do not do that. If you are detoxing, particularly from alcohol, that is a deathly, dangerous thing to do on your own. Please get help. Go to the hospital, go to a detox center, do something, because you can have seizures.
On how to do it, and definitely they say you should never do it alone.
Yes,
in the house. Be the only one in the house. If you are and you feel it's necessarily the only thing you can do it right anyway, and have somebody assist you with it.
Yeah, even if you're in that spot,
and
where you're like, shame on me, I did this to myself, I deserve this. I deserve to feel like I'm gonna freaking die. Well, you might, and you don't, because you can get better, and you just need to have that strength to make that next step, and get yourself to where you can, detox, to get
safely
till that fog lifts, and to think straight and figure out what's next for you.
And one thing I will say is hard is when you're going to detox safely. Sometimes going to a hospital, which when you're at that stage, you need emergency help. You don't need
ER,
to get
for sure.
Right, but they'll say, well, we're not a detox, or we're not a, what's the other thing?
I've heard ERs that will turn people away because...
But you got to use the right word.
Yeah.
If, like the first time...
you're prone to withdrawals.
A co-worker took Corey here after he came to Benton Harbor, and they used the word,
DTs?
Yeah, something like
Delirium
that. Just the
tremors?
detox, but if you're going through withdrawals, you have to say withdrawals.
Yeah.
If you say you're going to detox, they might turn you away because they're like, we're not a detox center. But they don't understand that, okay, if you're going to go detox and you're having the DDs and you're, coming off that and you need the assistance, medical assistance you've got to go through calling them, wait until there's a bed, you got to fill, do paperwork, get insurance approval. You can't just walk up to the door of a rehab center, knock on it and say, no. I need help, no, you need the emergency room. And unfortunately, here in Berrien County anyway, it's very tough and they're very critical, and you just got to learn to know what to say. And when he was first taken there, they told him, oh no, we're not that, and they left with him. The person didn't think what to say different, and I don't know, it wasn't a very pretty deal. But we learned that when I would take him, it would always be that he's withdrawing. He never really went in on his own too much, but I was always going to make sure. And it was hell when he would go in there and go through detox, but I didn't care if he went through that hell because I knew he needed to, and I didn't want him to die. But maybe he wanted to die, but I knew I'd heard him say enough times when he was sober that he didn't want to die. If I really felt in my heart that's what he wanted more than anything in the world and didn't want to live, and I didn't see that there was anything good in him, I don't know, maybe I could have let go of his hand like what's her name did with Jack in the Titanic thing. Bye Jack, see you later. But I just saw something too good to let go, and so I know that the hospitals would say, oh, here they come again, or I didn't know what kind of treatment I was going to get from, how they would treat me sometimes too, or I'd have to push, well, what about this, what about that, it was never the same experience. So you can't always go by, if somebody's telling you they had a bad experience at the hospital, you can't say, oh, I can't go to the hospital because so-and-so got turned away or this or that happened. Every time you go there, it seems like you get different nurses, doctors' opinions, all kinds of things. But the most important thing is just getting there and getting that IV in your arm.
Right.
And get done safely. I did want to add, if you do the detoxing from home, which, like Marty said, and I strongly say too, it's not the best idea at all. But if that's what you have to do, and the person that is with you, they have to be made to understand that it's very clear that they have to know when it's time, that you can't do it and they can't do it for you. They have to know when to call an ambulance if need be.
Right.
You know, it has to be somebody that will know when they can call an ambulance, because it can be very, very dangerous, like Marty said. And
I know. It was scary. One time I
but
came
sometimes
here to check
people
on
might not have a
Corey,
choice.
and my parents were out of town. And I had the kids with me after school, and he was upstairs and just trembling. And then I found a half gallon, and then I took it from him. And of course, there's every excuse: don't take it from me. He's like, I
Did
need
I
to
tell
detox.
you to go
but I
check
said,
him? I can't remember.
You're coming with me to the hospital. I said, I can't just stay with you and watch you and make sure you're okay with 3 kids, you know, with me. So then I finally got him to go. And then I dropped him off just at a local hospital. And they weren't the best. But, you know, it was better than him just sitting here. And
What was St. Joe, though?
no, it was Watervliet.
Oh, you dropped
Yeah.
him off there?
I had
Oh,
all
you
three-
had to go back and get him, didn't you?
No, I had all 3 boys in the car, and he was trembling, shaking, and throwing up. And of course, I just told the boys that he had the flu because they didn't understand or know. Maybe they don't remember, but it was just, I knew I couldn't be the person to watch over him.
And I've heard him talk about that incident
Yeah.
on the podcast. And of course, when the addict's going through it, I'm sure they don't see the side that we see. They have their own story
I
and
felt
version
bad
of
for
it,
'em,
but they're not
for
present
sure.
like we're present through the whole thing. You know, we didn't get any anesthetic to go through it. Like, the addict's sedated, basically, in a sort of way, where we had to have the surgery cold turkey.
I don't
Not,
know.
and so we were present. We know the story probably.
Well, you can't
better
compare
than
your
some of them.
pain to theirs.
No, I'm not doing that. But
No,
I'm
I
just
know.
saying that we know the stories, but
Yeah.
he tells it a little different than you. But it was a turning point for him because I've heard him talk on the podcast how it was so humiliating for him that he had to.
Yeah, because
Do
nobody
that in front of
when
his
you're lying
nephews.
there, you don't want anybody, especially
Right.
your loved ones, to see you like that.
Yeah,
you
that
know,
just-
and that's a lot of the reason why some people choose to just like, I just want to shut the door and wait till this is over. Not a good idea.
Right.
Not a good idea. Primarily, that's when you hear about the people that either, you know, aspirate or, you know, they have seizures and that lead to,
Oh, yeah.
and they end up, you know, nobody finds them for days. You know, it's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, that's
It's
how I told
scary.
like our neighbor and
And then people don't think anything of it because they're like, no, I haven't heard from him in a couple days.
sister's
They just think,
brother-in-law.
oh, he's probably out or she's probably, you know,
Right.
wherever.
Well, once I knew he was in trouble, you know, and he was all the way in Arkansas, that really bothered me all the time. And he had friends down there that would check on him, but he miraculously kept going to his job. So I think that saved him, you know, just being on the air, even though he would go in and do a show and then leave and not stay as long as he was supposed to. I think that helped a tiny bit, but to the point where it didn't anymore, you know what I mean? And his life was going to really go. However, what were we just saying about?
Detoxing by yourself.
I don't know why I'm laughing about that, but I think that was a few lines ago. No, Carly was just talking about when she took Corey. Oh, I know what I was going to say.
detoxing.
Whenever I'd go on vacation, remember I told you all of a sudden it's like, can I please go on a vacation? And I heard
Right.
Chris talking about that. He's glad that his parents could now go on a vacation and not worry about him. And I realized that Corey's not so abnormal, put it that way.
Right.
Um,
Our friend that OD'd, he did it when his parents were on vacation. They were in England.
but he didn't OD on purpose. But
No, it's because he was going to jail, and he was clean for a while, and he was going to go to jail for a possession charge. And I think he did what he used to, and he couldn't. And I think it was one last, like,
hurrah.
yeah,
what
before you
have
go to jail. And he knew his parents were gone. And
Well,
they
Corey
couldn't-
had a spell. He was living with us, and it was